Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Success Series. I'm your host, David Berg. Very special guest today, Eitan Yardeni. Known Eitan my entire life. Eitan is a senior teacher at the Kabbalah Centres, has taught for over 40 years, inspired millions of people, and continues to on a daily basis. It's an absolute honor to have him on the show.
It's my honor to be here.
Thank you for being
share this time with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for the small bit of our audience that doesn't know you, can you share a little bit about what you do, who you are, and how you came to the path of Kabbalah and decided to dedicate your life to it?
So unlike the majority of the young generation of today, in the age of 20, I knew that that's what I want to do. I was exposed to Kabbalah when I was 17. Actually, my brother started with the Kabbalah Center with the Rav Berg and Karen Berg in Israel, and he told me about it. So in the age of 17, I started taking classes. And then I joined the Israeli army. I was in the war in Lebanon in 82. And in the last year of my army, I was called to be a teacher in the Air Force. And that time I reconnected to the center. And I reconnected with the Rav and Karen. And at the age of 20, specifically after 4 a.m., 10 luminous emanation lesson that the Rav gave, even though I almost understood nothing, I had the clarity, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I came to the Rav. And I told him, that's what I want to do. So are you sure? Don't you want to think about it? I said, no, that's all. So that's a gift. I think it's connected to past lifetime. It's connecting to probably I was prepared to make that decision because as a teenager, I felt unsatisfied with the regular 1% life. Always I felt there's something more. I started to search in the age of 14, but I found the center at the age of 17.
Beautiful. You mentioned two different things that I'm sure a lot of our audience aren't familiar with. What is the 10 luminous emanations? And then you mentioned past life. What do you mean by that?
10 luminous emanation is one of the deepest study of Kabbalah that help us to understand actually how the universe began. Why are we here? The depth of our soul, understanding that everything that we see in the physical world is just 1% of the true reality. And the unseen realm is actually where everything is happening. And when you started to see the connection between what we don't see, any type of energy, a blessing or negative energy, first manifests itself in an unseen realm, and then it manifests itself in this physical world. So the 10 luminous emanation are helping us to see the connection between the unseen and the seen. So it's the deepest study of Kabbalah, which I had the merit to study with the Rav Berg many, many years ago.
Beautiful.
So when I spoke about past lifetime, I'm saying the mere fact that I have such a natural clarity about it, it's not because I was smart, it's not because I understood Kabbalah, it's not because I had a vision of how I'm going to be and what I'm going to do. It was a simple clarity that it felt it came from a deeper place.
With no real physical 1% reason for it. There was nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yet.
And so from that day until now, it was just completely clear.
Yes.
Beautiful. So in all of our guests, typically your childhood, the way that you were raised, influences your decisions, the person that you become. How was your childhood like growing up? And then do you feel that in any way that influenced the path that you chose to be on?
Yeah, I think my parents were extremely good people, not necessarily encouraging us to ask questions about life, about purpose, about meaning. So again, it's interesting. There were somewhat, my mom's family were traditional, but at home we were very not, even not religious, a little bit traditional. So it's interesting that not just me, all my siblings somehow have a connection to spirituality and desire around it. Yeah.
Incredible. And to jump to the work that you do and the people that you inspire, You've spoken and taught, the most famous people in the world, celebrities, actors, actresses, sports players. In doing all of that, what are some of the things that I think only people dream of, being able to be in the same room as them, that you saw that maybe are not obvious or are not as glamorous as it looks to, every 20-year-old that wants to be rich and famous?
So, first, people are people. We all have soul and we all have demons, and everybody has it. Actually, more successful you are, more challenged you are to find inner peace and inner joy. Because what is success? Success is energy. There's this greater energy when a person wants to be more successful, more influential, more prosperous, more famous. Basically, they're looking for greater energy. When a person able to manifest this type of energy in their life, it comes with challenges. Because one of the main principles of Kabbalah is, in order to retain energy, happiness, joy, success, blessings, influence, you need to earn it. What does it mean to earn it? You need somehow to do some inner work. Means more success you have, you need to develop greater desire to share. More success you have, you need to develop greater humility. More success you have, you need to be able to be more appreciated. And usually if you're not working on yourself, actually the opposite is happening. More success you are, less grateful you are. More successful you are, more ego you have. Less humility you have. It's a test. So when a person say, I want more, can you handle more? So actually, from my experience, most people are more comfortable and more open to spiritual lessons when they're going through challenges because they need help.
Right.
So why not? Can you give me a spiritual advice? Some mystical power, I can get rid of my challenge instantly? Of course I'm open. I would love to learn. But in my experience, when people become very successful, when things going according to the plan of people, miracles that pleasing people, actually it's harder to maintain spiritual consciousness. And spiritual consciousness is the ability to look at yourself, how can I improve as a human being? Nothing to do with the external success. How can I become a better human being, more humble human being, more truly sharing human being, more truly caring human being, more truly loving human being, and more with inner peace. So, because success, it's energy of high, that if you don't pay attention, it's blinding you, and you're addicted to it, and you're attached to it. And there's a dangers that you don't see anybody else.
You think you're better, you think you're more powerful.
Absolutely. And it becomes your identity.
Right.
One of the biggest problems when you achieve any type of success, it can be even Kabbalah teacher, which I'll share about my own process actually, So anytime you identify with what you do as if that's who I am, and you're attached to it, so that's one of the tendencies of our ego, to attach to what I achieve, to attach to what I do as if that's who I am. And if I'm not as successful in that thing, or I'm be judged about what I'm doing, suddenly my whole security is depleted, and my whole sense of self-esteem is depleted, which that's part of the illusion of success. So I think every true successful person feel these feelings and fight these inner fights. But those who have tendency to desire to study Kabbalah, actually more open, and they realize I need actually to work on myself more than a usual person.
Right.
Because greater the energy that you deal with, greater the forces that try to bring you down, bring your ego down, and so on.
Do you think that people become successful first and then those challenges come, or were they always meant to be successful just so the challenges could arise?
I think depend. I think some people, it's part of their destiny to be successful in certain field.
From the moment they were born, they were meant to be successful.
Some people meant to be successful. So when people telling me, what's the
Secret.
seven laws of highly successful people, spiritual laws, I think law number 1, you're blessed. Don't take yourself too seriously. It's part of your destiny. Of course, it is up to you if you can achieve inner joy and true fulfillment in the midst of it. It is up to you. Are you able to align your success with making a difference in other people's life? It's up to you if you actually, while you are successful, you're nurturing your soul and you develop inner joy. That's up to the person. Now, there's other categories of people that they think we're all tested in life. We're tested, we're going right, which is doing what my need for instant gratification is about, and how people will look at me, versus going the other side, which is more listening to the gut feeling. And every test that we have in our life, if it's test to react in a negative way, or to actually to pause and to take a few seconds to realize, there's a lesson for me to learn, okay? I think every step and every test attracts more blessings in your life. And sometimes, because of the choices people make, it opens them to attract a blessing that maybe since they were born were meant to them only if they'll reach that spiritual level. So I don't think anything is predetermined. We all have free will, and based on the choices that we do, we are actually accessing the reality that's waiting for us to connect with. All the potential destinies are written Kabbalistically, but according to your choices, it will determine what type of destiny you will attract into your life.
Right. And so I'm going back to your earlier teachings of Kabbalah when you were in your early 20s, being in a room with all the A-list celebrities. How did you not feel, am I worthy of teaching them this? Do I know enough? They're powerful, I'm young. Did that ever cross your mind or not? Yeah.
Yes, especially as a young teacher. So I remember I lived in LA, and a celebrity, through a friend, expressed interest to study Kabbalah. And I was excited, in a very simple way. I can spread the light to the masses, but the fact that as a young person I could teach, inspire, grow, it's exciting. And they said they're interested, and we communicated, that time, if I'm not mistaken, was a pager, and they called me. And the bottom line, whenever they say they wanted to speak, they didn't respond. So I came to the Rav, says, strange, they said they're interested, but they're not actually responding. What should I do? Should I let it go completely? Because I don't want to run after them,
Sure.
because it makes me feel. So the Rav Berg told me a powerful lesson. He told me, as long as you remember you are the giver and they are the receiver, it's okay even to chase after them, because your intention is to share. At the moment you forget, you become the needy, you become the dependent, you're no longer a true teacher and you're not helping them.
Wow.
And I think one of the tests as a teacher, especially you're dealing with people and you're dealing with disappointment and you're dealing with expectation, you're investing energy. Very often you'll be disappointed, and then you realize I'm disappointed because I'm a human, but at the same time, when I'm disappointed, I'm focusing on what I would expect to get in return from the energy that I'm putting out. So I think, by the way, it's for every businessman. If you have a product that you love, that you believe in, It means the creator made you a channel to share that particular product. So when you're about to sell this product, or you're about to get an investor that's putting $50 million in this product, before the meeting, you need to prepare yourself, am I the giver or the receiver? If I'm the giver, I'm here to give opportunity. Of course, I want that investment, but I'm not dependent. Because at the moment I'm dependent and I'm needy, I'm no longer the proper channel to share. And I'm not connected to the flow that's supposed to come.
How do you, I understand it from a spiritual perspective, but I'm even thinking of myself in raising money. Oftentimes I'm like, but I need the money. The business needs the money to run. So how do you remove that thought in the moment and be really a giver, not a taker?
First, we all have these two sides. That you want something in return. In your particular case, you need the money. If not, you won't be able to pay your employees to continue the project or the business that you're running. Absolutely. So it's to be able, in one hand, to be able to acknowledge that, if it's the fear, if it's the need, but then to put it aside. Because there's also purpose to the need and to the urgency to push you to do more. There's a purpose to that,
right?
Okay? But then, when you're meeting someone, put it aside. For right now, I just want to be the channel. I am the giver. I'm here to give opportunity. And actually, I'm not sure I want this to be my investor. Please, the creator, show me if it belongs, that person, we belong to work together. Because if you're not open to ask this question, then you're under the illusion that if I'll close the cell, that's I'm gonna control the reality. Right. And when the moment you think you're really the one that's controlling the situation, then it's just a matter of time when you'll suffer.
Oh, really? It's guaranteed?
So, absolutely. Wow. Because you need to create the space for the light to come in. So number one, to come from a place, I'm here to give value, to give energy. With your energy. Number two, you want to make sure this partnership is meant to be a blessing. Not every partnership, the fact that the person offer you the right amount of money
doesn't mean,
or signing all the conditions doesn't mean it's the right partner. So how do you know? The fact that you're open, you will see.
Beautiful. I love that. I'm thinking about that in my own lens for my own company. Yeah. In teaching, going back to, because I think there's just so much energy surrounding influential people, money, right? It's what the whole world desires and cares for. When you're in that place and you're inspiring these people, how do you, after so many years of doing it, how does the ego not come in and say, this is me? Because at the end of the day, they're not asking for the Kabbalah, they're asking for Eitan Yardeni, right? People say, I want to meet Eitan Yardeni. How does hearing that from all these successful people not eventually make you think, oh wait, it is me, because they want me, they don't want the wisdom. If they wanted the wisdom, they would study with anybody else. So how do you separate the two?
It's a good question. When you're going through a lot of moments of rejection, and it helps you to realize you're not in control. The fact that I can appreciate that I can be channeled to certain people to study Kabbalah, and I appreciate it as a gift from the Creator, I appreciate it. But I've been through a lot, and most of the people that I was teaching are no longer studying with me, to realize that actually you're not so smart, you're not so much in control, wow. You're not holding people and retaining people. I'll tell you the story that comes to mind is the first major rejection story.
Okay.
So I was maybe 23 years old during the earlier time of the Kabbalah Center in New York, and the Rav Berg was here. And I met, just by knocking doors in the fashion industry, I met a young, very successful businessman, 23 years old, from the Syrian community. Dealt with hundreds of millions. Wow. And he had 10 brothers. And when he told them that he met me and he liked me and he studied, they all told him, Kabbalah is horrible. It's a cult. Don't touch. But he said, I don't care. I'm studying with you. And we used to study once a week. And even support the Kabbalah Center. I don't care what anybody thinks. Wow. I don't care what the rabbis in my community thinks. And then after we had relationship for 2 years. We would study, was feeling changes in his life. And then he called me and he asked me, can you please meet me at this particular address in Madison Avenue and I think 51st. His brother's at the office there. So I'm getting to the office. All the 10 brothers there,
wow,
include him. He turned completely. Somehow he was influenced by his brother, heard evil tongue, wow. Rabbis brainwashed him. He attacked me in front of, after we were best friends.
Wow.
He attacked me in front of the whole family. And they basically, and I tried to say what I say, but they basically kicked me out.
Wow. He called you there just to tell you that.
Yeah, just to tell you.
You could. There's many more merciful ways.
Yes. That's
wow.
So.
And you walk out.
I felt knocked out. That's what I felt. I felt knocked out, beaten up.
Right.
So I went downstairs. I used a quarter to pay the Rav, to call the Rav, in a payphone. To use a payphone to call the Rav, you know. And I called the Rav, and the Rav told me, wow, what an exciting news. Eitan, now you begin to understand the power of Satan. It's amazing day, so much more light. And he got me excited. I hung up the phone. And I saw a person in the street. I stopped him. Excuse me, are you interested in the Zohar? I say, yes, I was looking for the Zohar.
Wow.
I say, so I live in Great Neck.
Yeah.
If you, maybe I say I'm not in Great Neck. I called the Rav and say, now, go to his house and deliver the Zohar. Actually, to show, and many stories to show me. When you realize, yes, of course, I would love this guy to continue to study and to get the benefit. But for my own process, because whenever you invest with someone, of course you share, but you invested and you care and you have some attachment.
Right.
That's our ego. We all have it. Yeah. You become a friend. You want them to continue. You feel valued when you're teaching people and you make a difference in people's life. Suddenly they're dropping you like a hot potatoes. You feel bad, of course. Right. That's human nature, okay? Right. But when you, the lesson I've learned from the rabbis, at the moment that you actually accepting it as a cleansing without second guessing yourself and knowing actually it gives you the power to be a greater channel to spread light, miracles will happen. So on many of those, and of course some of them I've learned many lessons of my own mistakes. When you take yourself too seriously and you attach yourself, you're being attached to that role. I'm a Kabbalah teacher and I'm helping this person and that person, then you become external. You become less connected to the real purpose of life, which is real transformation, which is real reduction of the ego and real awakening desire to share. And it's dangerous. Doesn't matter what you do. Right. Doesn't matter what you do.
Even if you're a Kabbalah teacher for many years, you can still
Absolutely.
In a second.
None of us are immune for the games of the ego. None of us are immune.
Would you say ego is the single most dangerous thing for us as people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ego is the part within us, again, that takes very seriously good moments, right, and take too seriously bad moments, believe that I did and I created, or believe that I'm a failure or I'm a zero, instead of knowing that we have beautiful soul and we are destined for blessings. And of course, I need to overcome the ego, and whatever you achieve or whatever you accomplish in this world, it's not you, it's only the light of the Creator. And whenever you make mistakes, it doesn't define you, it's also opportunity to grow.
Right.
So it's easier said than done, but it's a process that all of us need to go through.
Right.
Definitely.
On the flip side of that, seeing the success of many of these people that you taught, did you never have the thought to, why don't I go launch a company too? They're coming to me for advice. They're making billions of dollars. I can do that a lot easier because I have the tools and I'm teaching them. Has that never been a thought? And if it has, then how did you navigate through it?
Personally, not. Every human is something else. Personally, for me, it's not my interest. The reason is because I see that in most of the cases, I'm so much more fortunate to be able to live a truly purposeful life and fulfilled life. And I always felt with that, that's for me abundance. So I never felt I don't have enough.
Right.
Whether I'm on target with being purposeful and not being sidetracked with the ego. So that's the reason.
It was never appealing because what you had.
And especially when I see all the challenges people are doing and the ups and the downs and yeah.
Right. Makes total sense. What do you think is the number one reason, aside from ego, why all these people they receive all these blessings and then instantly just complete chaos? Is it just ego, or is there something else that is very common in people that are successful or that will be successful?
I think all of us needs ups and downs because we all need to find this true certainty in our soul and in the Creator. So without ups and downs, you will not have the opportunity to truly strengthen your relationship. I'm up, don't take yourself too seriously, don't celebrate as if there's no tomorrow. And actually look at yourself, I'm starting my life today. How can I become better in business and as a human being? And when you're down, you need to be able to trust the Creator that nothing happened, you're not crushed, it's temporary. And so it's all about trusting the Creator. So we all need it. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs it.
You mentioned Rav Berg. I think a lot of people, maybe that even knew the Rav, didn't know him in the years that you did. How would you describe the Rav as a person and as a teacher?
Very powerful aura. Wherever I would I'll tell you a story, okay? I was maybe in my early 20s when I was in Mexico City, and I was called to have a live interview. There was somehow through connection, we got the opening with Televisa, which is the main TV station in Mexico. So I was called to have a live interview, talk show. They want to ask they want to ask about Kabbalah, they want to ask about reincarnation.
Sure.
That's the first time I was in a live interview. I was so nervous.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because live interview and
it's recorded.
TV recorded, it's there. So I was so nervous beyond. I had to calm myself down. I had to have deep breath and everything. And I was there, and then it was good. And a month later, the Rav came.
Yeah.
And she was doing it for 20 years.
Okay.
The Rav was so calm and powerful with his blue, powerful eyes. She told me I was never nervous in the interview. The interviewer.
Wow, she was nervous.
Well, actually, she never felt such an intensity. So if you're asking the Rav, first a powerful aura, powerful light, such a self-confidence that doesn't come from ego, self-confidence that knows that I am with the light right this very second. The Rav would not be intimidated by anything and anybody, any challenge and any person. The Rav said the only person that the Rav was afraid of is Karen.
His wife.
Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nothing, not impressed, not affected, and as a result, he could be so truthful without fear what people would say, what people will not say, what will be their reaction, they're gonna like me, they're not gonna like. It wasn't in the conversation, in the mind even, not at all. And you felt that light and you wanted to be close to it. It was not just the words of the teaching, which the Rav was a genius teacher. It was feeling that that's a person that is really with the light. really with the lie. So, and miracles maker, with that certainty, without humility, miracle maker that I was.
Incredible.
Major.
You mentioned the spiritual path being the most fulfilling, being able to navigate through all challenges. In your own personal life, right, going through a marriage and then divorce and teaching people for years and years about relationships and probably putting couples together and doing thousands of marriages. How are you able, one, to understand that process, and two, inspire others and not worry about the judgment or the things that people would ask and say to you as a teacher and as somebody who's maybe helped them in their relationship?
The divorce, that's the process of my divorce that started about 2014, was a very growing experience for me, tremendous and essential.
Essential.
That without this, I think I would still be blind. Necessary pain, I would say. And actually a major blessings, because I would say as part of this process, I became healthy for an issue that I had for many years. And specifically, after the initial period of separation that was more concealed, we kept it just in the family, was a point that we said it's the time to tell friends, to tell the community, to tell students about that. Part of this process, I realized that for a long time, I try always to control, to be a role model, to be perfect, to do everything right, because I have to be example for everybody. And that's part of my identity. I have to be an example. I have to be the perfect teacher. I have to apply everything. I have to do everything perfect. And that thought itself actually made me always anxious and sick. Wow. The fact that I'm trying to be perfect instead of accepting where you are and try to become better and better and better. So the fact that I went to close community friends and I told them, guys, it's very possible that we are going to divorce. And while before it was impossible I would ever say something like this, because I would think, wow, you teaching Kabbalah? And people did tell me.
Right, they did tell you, right?
If you can't make it, what are you from us?
Right.
Actually, that point, that was that. I was smiling with it. That was 2 years
really,
after the process.
Right.
But in the past, to be open and vulnerable first with myself.
Right.
That it's a mistake. I made mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with myself. And that allows me actually to be okay with others admitting mistake. That's actually, I believe, is the main factor that brought healing, because that anxious energy affected my stomach directly.
Wow.
So that was a very freeing process, exposing imperfection, exposing mistakes. And even though in the bigger picture there's no mistakes, because it led me to my marriage now, which I'm very happy and fulfilled with my soulmate relationship. But nevertheless, that transition caused me to realize I'm so controlling of try to be perfect and appear perfect, and attached to that image, which is major ego. So that by itself gave me a lot of freedom.
Incredible.
I'm trying to remind myself all the time about that. Yeah.
Incredible. And then through that process, how did you restrict or hold back wanting to be angry at people for judging you or saying things to you? Or how did you smile, like you said, when you had those comments or reactions?
I think in that stage when I went through a tough process at the beginning, the whole idea of our family will be broken and this and that, and how does it feel and how does it look? But at the time that I already shared, that was already, and people reacted, I let them react. I don't think I was angry with them.
Right.
Because
there's an internal process. And once,
yeah.
So separating from your specific experience, many people that are on the spiritual path experience maybe negative things, quote unquote. My dad, and my mom, they had a child with Down syndrome, and yet they say their life, and I know their life is completely blessed, and they see that as a blessing too. So my question for you is, does the study of Kabbalah make you not have these negative experiences? Because it seems like lead teachers that have dedicated their lives to this still experience things that the rest of us do.
I think, as you know, we all have challenges. The question, how do you deal with the challenges? How do you react to the challenges? If you maintain certainty that challenges are opportunities to grow, it's no longer chaos. Chaos means you perceive a challenge that came from nowhere, without purpose, without order. When you know a challenge is part of the order of the universe, the divine force that leading this challenge to help me to become better and to elevate, that's by itself a game changer. Then the process of transformation from the pain of the challenge to the sweetness become much easier and faster. Nevertheless, that's part of the test of life. We all need to go through it. But very, very interesting as far as how do you accept challenges, and I think it's good for anybody, something that I've learned. In the earlier time, before we had established Kabbalah Centres all over the world, so we're about 8 or 10 of us with the Rav Berg, with your dad, in United States, and used to travel for different places. And very often, because even is before pages, I think, so very often you've been told you are needed now to go to Brazil. Actually, it happened to me once. I came back from Montreal driving a van with 5 guys, and it was winter in Montreal. And I had this snowsuit with me, freezing cold.
Right.
And then the Rav in the park, as we arrived to the house, the Rav said, this is your ticket, go now to LaGuardia Airport right now. You're flying to Brazil right now.
Wow.
So it was summer in Brazil. I didn't have even time to change.
Wow.
So many of these things. So I've learned something very powerful. Every time I was called to go somewhere because it was needed for the organization. And when I would overthink it, I like it, I don't like it, I expect it actually to stay here longer, it's not exactly where I want to go with, I will have tough beginnings. Every time I'll get excited instantly. After the first few seconds maybe of doubt, instantly grab it, I'm excited, I'll have amazing beginning. So actually it makes a big difference. We're always gonna be hit with things that are not according to our plans, in business, in life, in relationships, in deals that you're working. How fast does it takes you to embrace it with excitement? It will determine how fast you'll see miracles as a result.
Incredible. I love that.
So it's not just, I know it's a lesson, I know it's opportunity, and you're heavy thinking about it, and you talk about it.
Yeah.
Let me go through my process.
Right. It's not that. You're excited.
It's actually how long this. So I saw, when I wasn't excited, dwell in the feelings of fears and everything. The beginning were difficult.
Wow.
And when I still feel that it's important to acknowledge that you have fears and you have doubts. But after you acknowledge it, said, I'm injecting excitement and certainty that it's part of the bigger plan and only good things will happen.
It changes right away.
It changes right away. First, you have better energy.
Right.
Second,
the actual
realities.
Incredible.
Right. Because we're in a time, so want to be aligned with my feelings, which is beautiful. And I believe eventually when you're really connected to your purpose, you love what you do. But to be too intellectual about it and to wait until you find the things that you love, I personally don't believe in it. Because sometimes you have to earn the things that belongs to you that you truly love. So my advice is, whatever around you, whatever opportunities comes your way, try to do it with excitement, with love. First, I would say, love what you do anyway. And then you'll have the merit to actually do what you love. Because very often we are blind to see what really belongs to us. We are blind to see what really will bring us true pleasure. So whatever opportunities comes your way, make sure to give 100% of energy and inject excitement into it. Doesn't mean that's your destiny,
Right.
but that's actually the fastest way that opportunity will be shown to you, and you'll get closer to your real path. And you might love what you do right now, and but it might take you even to the next level in the journey.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being on the show, Eitan.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to have you on here. Eitan Yardeni, everybody. You can find him on social media, on Instagram, on Kabbalah.com. Eitan, thank you for being on the show. Okay.